From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday here on LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you in the fourth stimulus package. This is confirmed. It's a fortune of checks. It's 3.5 trillion of them, and they're coming to you, and I'll be detailing them in the second half of this recording. Then we cut to the vote. There's a vote happening right now. It's for the bipartisan. Did it pass, or will it pass, or it will go into tomorrow? I'll have all the details. And then I'll go over when your voting is going to start, when your amendments are going to end, and when we're heading to the House. It's breaking at noontime. It's breaking news minutes ago, and I have the latest breaking details. Did I say breaking? Let me say it again. And then we got the fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. That's this fall. And then the big money as viewers continue to give. With one viewer hearing me on camera say, go get more money, and he did. How much more money did he get when I said to go get money? $50,000 because of my message on air. I'll have all the breaking news about his story as well. It's a big noontime. Let's get to the details, starting right now. Good noontime, everybody. How you doing? It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Santa Monica. Hope you are beautiful and safe. The weather is spectacular. The weather is paradise. It can't be any better. I hope you have beautiful weather as well. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? In this fourth stimulus check update 2021, so much breaking news. We're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. A done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are confirmed. They're coming to you. It's the fourth stimulus recon. Viewers of this channel have been getting $30,000 to $50,000 under third stimulus. We'll get ready for fourth. It's a bigger package, and there's a lot more checks coming to you in this one. I'll go over the breaking details in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the vote. The bipartisan is going to a vote right now. It started a few hours ago. We'll finish at the time of this recording live on air from Santa Monica, or will we go into tomorrow? And then when will your stuff start for a vote? I have all the breaking details. It's happening right now, live on air, breaking details from Congress on this noontime broadcast. Then we got to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up, especially if you're on SSI, SSDI, and VA. And then we get to this. Mark getting $50,000 from this channel, $25,000 of rent, $6,500 for utilities, $19,000 for SNAP. This is third stimulus. And when fourth stimulus becomes law, guess what? You're going to get this and a lot more because fourth stimulus is $3.5 trillion of checks like Mark's checks he got from third stimulus. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel on America, live in the morning, like right now, and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m., a throwback show from earlier this week. This video will automatically take you there 6 seconds after this video ends. Then a new Afternoons LALATE at 3 p.m., a new Evenings LALATE at 5 p.m., and a new Overnights Crypto at 5:30. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Thank you for all the incredible subscriber growth this week. And also like this video. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Thank you for the incredible member growth as the Purple Power family has been adding over 200 people a day. Let's get to the breaking news starting right now. Stimulus check monthly and across the board. House versus Senate, Senate versus House. Let's go to the House plan. Pandemic plus 1 year, it's a bill. And that pandemic plus 1 year is deliciousness. Senate, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month. Senate, monthly unknown. But word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness as well. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000 over $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Pandemic plus 1 year House bill, well, pandemic ain't over. And with the pandemic ain't over, we're dealing with Delta, now Delta Plus, and also Lambda. And that means that the House bill would pay more than just 1 year. which would be more than just 12 checks, which would be under the House bill more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat this noontime and vote House of Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from. This noontime, Saturday at noon, live from Santa Monica. And how's the weather where you are? Who gets this fourth stimulus check? You do. Democrats represent that they're giving you a fourth stimulus check if you got a third. A single individual, $75,000 less. Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less. Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, VA, more, Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. It would be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. I learned my lesson again. About 2 weeks ago, I was broadcasting live on the beach for you on location. And one viewer said, "Hey, LA, is that the check behind you?" Where? Oh, it is. Wave at the check, LA. I'm like, really? Okay, all right. Hey, check, how you doing? It's LA, how you doing? Didn't wave back at me, rude check again. The viewer said, "No, LA, it's not a rude check. It's just not a waivable check. I've seen your videos." I fell for it. In the second half of this video, we'll be going to the $3.5 trillion of checks that are coming to you under the fourth stimulus recon. And in the final part of this video, I'm going to go over a personal message because these are checks. It's 3.5 trillion of them. It's not three checks. It's 3.5 trillion of them. And this is incredible amounts of money. In fact, you're going to see in a second how viewers have gotten $30,000 to $50,000 from third stimulus. Get ready for fourth stimulus. It's even bigger and bolder. It's incredible, great news. But first, let's get a preview of the third part of this video. The Congress, the Senate, is in session right now. Since 9 a.m., they've been on the Senate floor, and they've been trying to get the final vote of the bipartisan done. If they get it done today, then when does the recon start voting? Does it start today? Does it start tomorrow? And when do we see the recon bill? A lot of breaking news. In the final 15 minutes of this video, it's all breaking right now, live from Santa Monica, direct with the details from Congress. It's coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay at the very end. And we'll also be going over fifth stimulus, just raise your benefits up a lifetime. But first, let's get some money. When I started recording videos about a few weeks ago, and I was talking about rent, I said I could get you 4 to 6 months of rent, about $5,000. I was wrong. I can't get you $5,000. I can get you $27,000, like Elizabeth, who got $27,000 of rent from this channel. Mark, $25,000. Nancy, $24,000. Rich, $22,000. Nisi, $20,000. And the numbers continue. Congratulations to Cecilia, Jennifer, who got $5,000, Randy, who got $6,000, Tiffany, $13,000, and Pamela, $12,000. Many of them got multiple sums of money for other items as well. When we talked about utilities, I said I can get you $300 for utilities. I was wrong. I can't get you $300. I can get you $7,000, like Nancy and Mark and Angela. Incredible, just incredible sums of money. Viewers are getting as Purple Hawks, as members of this channel, as people who watch the videos, as people who share the videos, or subscribers and members. They're learning. These are big sums of money. And then when we talked about Snap, I said I can get you $5,000 to $6,000 of Snap because some viewers got that. And then this happened. Louis got $18,000, John got $10,000, and Nancy got $5,000. So what are the big winners? The massive payouts that people have gotten multiple sums of money. Are you ready? Here we go. Drum roll, bam. Wow. Nancy got $32,000 from this channel from 3 items. Mark got $32,000 from 3 items to 2 items. And Nisi got $23,000 from 3 items. Yep, Mark got $32,000 from 2 items. And here is something really surprising you're learning at noontime. If you watched me over the last week and a half, I said at some part in this video, a humor remark where I said, well, Mark, you only got 2 items and you only got $32,000. Mark, why don't you get the third item? Get to $40,000. Then over the last 2 days, I was referring to Mark number 1 and Mark number 2, thinking it was 2 different people. It's not. I learned overnight that Mark number 1 is just the same Mark. In fact, I learned that Mark was watching my videos and hearing me say, Mark, you got 2 items, $32,000. Go get Snap. I kept on saying that. I said, go get Snap. And I specifically said, maybe, Mark, you can get to $40,000. Mark, overnight, sent me a message, said, I was watching your videos. I went and got the third item. I went and got Snap. And I didn't get to $40,000. I got to 50,000. Wow. My goodness. I have never in the history of this channel seen anything like this. He watched the videos. He understood that there's a stimulus check, but the biggest payout in these packages is these monies. He understood he can get rent and utilities. He got 32,000. Then he heard me on air saying, go get SNAP. You haven't gotten SNAP. You can get it to 40. And he got $19,000 of SNAP, bringing it to a grand total of $50,000. I'm speechless. But this is LALATE. This is what we do. In spring of last year, EID alone and grants were not coming. I stepped in. I got viewers $25 million of EID loans and grants approved. No one anywhere on the planet has ever done anything like this. Saving people's businesses, saving people's homes and their employees' homes. And then in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not coming. There was no second stimulus check yet. But I stepped forward. I got viewers $250,000 of rent. Tyrone, his family of four out of Boston, got $15,000, paid all their rent to the next year. And now we're doing it again. You and I. The only difference is your numbers are through the roof. So get a pen and paper ready right now, because if you've never gotten any money for this channel, you're going to start getting some money right now. And if you've gotten some, I want you to get the other sums of money. We're going to get some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners' utilities. Different places have different eligibility. I'm going to show you different places to reach out to. They all have different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. They also have their own pot of money. Finally, listen to the keywords, because the keywords help viewers get approved, apparently. All right, you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords you're going to use are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't use words they don't know, like stimulus or Chris and Sinema's fan club. They don't know those words. And there you go. Tim and Linda got money for rent as well and utilities. If you got rent and utilities money, post it in the live chat right now. And let's get to some SNAP. Yes, Mark, in just 1 week of me saying go get SNAP, Mark got $19,000 of SNAP. Ling Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Louis got $18,000 about 2 weeks ago. John got $10,000 to $12,000. What is SNAP? SNAP is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump, that raised your benefits up 15%. So go get it. And we're killing it. You're killing it. If you got Snap, post in the live chat right now. We're only 12 minutes of this video, and we've gotten $27,000 for rent, $7,000 to $8,000 for utilities, and $19,000 for Snap. We're just getting started. And the next part of the money is the money coming back from your states due to overpayment and a computer error. Where's it landing? In your direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, contact your state and say, hi, state. Where's that check due to overpayment and computer error? And this time when you track it, can you plug in the keyboard? It's just computer humor. And there you go. One viewer got $3,000 for this. Another viewer got $5,000. Finally, the refund check coming back from IRS on that 2020 tax return. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it, and guess what? It's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch. It's a waivable check. And IRS confirms a new wave comes every week. The latest wave was $1,265. Wow. Mark got this as well. He got almost $1,400. Direct deposit start July 14th. Paper checks July 16th. Before we continue with that, here's a personal message. If you're in the live chat and you've not posted success stories for rent, utilities, food, or internet or mortgage, post them right now. Because when you do, you help other people. The spirit of the Purple Power channel, the Purple Power family, the spirit of this channel is me helping you and you helping others. It's a loving channel. And when you post your success stories, three wonderful things happen. Number one, when you post your success stories, you inspire other people to get the sums of money. They see people getting SNAP and they realize, wait, I should go get some SNAP. They see utilities and they say, oh, I have a utility bill. I should get my utility bill paid. So it inspires people to get these sums of money. Then, number two, inspires them to get multiple sums of money. We had Art Sullivan who got 3 items and Nisi who got 3. That inspired Nancy to get 3. Then I said to Mark on air, I said, Mark, you got 2. Go get the third, like Nisi and Art Sullivan and Nancy. And just between Monday and Friday, it's changed. Now he has gone out and got to $19,000 a snap because of me saying, go get the third item. And there you go. So how much in unemployment benefits are you getting back? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits, but you pay $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 of taxes were paid on the unemployment benefits. You're getting that back. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, go to irs.gov, do a transcript search at irs.gov, and it'll reveal 70% of the time the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. And then it'll reveal stuff you never knew, stuff you never wanted to know. Like when Mitch McConnell was on Star Search, did he do the singing with the rollerblades on or with the rollerblades off? And then finally, it'll reveal the refund check you came back from IRS. Can we top that? We can as we go into the second part of your Fourth Stimulus Check Update 2021, starting right now. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the Fourth Stimulus Recon. The Recon is all checks for you, valued at $3.5 trillion. By comparison, previous stimulus packages were much smaller, and you've already seen viewers get $15,000 to $50,000 from third stimulus. Well, get ready for fourth stimulus, which is this much bigger, at a price tag of $3.5 trillion, checks for you of all kinds. It's incredible, great news. How did we get to this spot? We got to this spot because originally the roads and bridges were in the recon, making it unpassable before July 4th, the date that Chuck Schumer thought he can get it done. Roads and bridges in the recon was a bad idea, so they had to take the roads and bridges out and put it into something called the bipartisan. That made the bipartisan passable and your recon both now passable. The confirmation comes from a conservative publication days ago that says by doing it, it made everything perfect. First, it says that that's the non-farm payroll coming up later. It said the higher the price tag was on the recon, the harder it was to pass before. There you go, confirmation. By allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put in the bipartisan roads and bridges, it made the overall price tag of the recon smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan made the recon passable. But it's also vice versa. The recon made the bipartisan passable, and they're all both getting passed in the next few days. Now, how did they achieve this? Well, once the recon was shrunk, the progressives beefed it up a little bit more and got it to a big number that they wanted, and it's now perfect, $3.5 trillion. This is the big number that they all wanted, and this is all congratulatory news. The Progressive Caucus had met with the White House daily to ensure they got a big enough recon. They got it. Congratulations. $3.5 trillion. Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, Progressive, said we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon. Congratulations. $3.5 trillion. And then Representative Richie Torres said we have to have a recon that goes as big as a larger recon. You got it, Richie. $3.5 trillion. How did they do this? By protecting the recon, because the recon is just checks for you. That's all it is. Lots and lots and lots of checks for you. And the president told the progressives, protect my recon, because everything in there is progressive. The quote from Brian Schatz and Jalopal, both progressives, both Democrats, is that the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon the White House's own priorities. Wow. You know, it's a week like this where the president has really aligned himself well with the progressives. We started the week with the president saying the eviction moratorium is over. It will not hold up in courts. I'm sorry, goodbye. And the progressives really fought back. Nancy, AOC, Jalopal said, no, you got to extend the eviction moratorium. But Representative Bush from St. Louis, 1st District of Missouri, Democrat, progressive, was not going to take no from an answer. She's the full embodiment of the Purple Power spirit. She did not take no from an answer and just close up shop and put her feet up on the chair. She went to the Capitol Hill and sat on the Capitol Hill with nightly vigils saying, you have to extend the eviction moratorium. And we ended the week with the eviction moratorium put back into place and the president completely reversing his position, saying, no, I'm going to extend it and I don't care about the courts. That is the true embodiment of the Purple Power spirit and why it's not over till it's over. How do we get to this wonderful spot? Well, we got to this wonderful spot by separating the roads and bridges from the recon. But it's important to understand the terminology. I use on this channel just two terms, recon and bipartisan. But broadcast media, they use other terms. And you need to know what those other terms are because sometimes they don't do them right. On Thursday, one of my favorite anchors, Andrew Ross Sorkin, was on air and he referred to it as the $3.5 trillion infrastructure. Nope. That is the recon. The recon is $3.5 trillion. So let's go over the two paths so you understand them. First, recon, your money, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. Price tag $3.5 trillion. People quoting an article about it in AOC or Bernie. Then bipartisan, not your money. This is roads and bridges, also called the Infrastructure, price tag 1.5 trillion or smaller. People quoting an article about this: Chris and Sinema, Ron Portman, or Mitt Romney. Okay, that's all easy. Who passes the recon? This is important to remember as we get close to the finish line. The recon is passed by 50 of 50 Democratic senators with the tie-breaking vote as your vice president of the United States. You'll have 0 of all Republican senators voting in favor of it. No Republican senator will vote in favor of the recon. No worry, because we have all the Democratic senators to pass it. Who writes the recon? The recon is written by the subcommittee members of the House. And those subcommittee members are delegated different subject matters under the Constitution. For example, House Ways and Means does stimulus checks, unemployment benefits. When each of those subcommittees are done with what they're writing, let's say it's 10 committees with 10 pages they wrote, they send them up to Chuck and he combines it. It's 100 pages, for example, and he puts a big S on it. That's for salty, sugary, seductive, Schumerish. No, for Senate, and that is your Senate recon. Until we have the recon, it's important to understand it's not bill yet. It's not bill yet. So if someone says, I haven't heard, the reason I haven't heard is because we haven't seen the recon. When that recon is debuted in bill format, more about that later in this video, it's important to understand, and this one is important, people, is that it's not law yet. The recon will get absolutely massively modified. The Democrats represent, and I'll explain to you why later in this video. And there you go. So how did we get to this wonderful spot? Well, Jalopal recently writing Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote on the recon. Well, guess what? The voting on the recon is just hours away. OMG, that's coming up later in this video. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of the 100 plus, who recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 House members of the House Ways and Means recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. OMG, can we top that? We can. They also say, give me a 5th stimulus check. Purple Power, you got to keep these people their promise. They're promising you monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. And then the president's topped that. The president topped that because 6 weeks ago he went overseas and had a ceremonial signature. The formal signature was a few days ago. He signed something that makes the forced stimulus easier to pass because this confusing thing is not in there. What is it? It's called the Global Minimum Corporate Tax Rate Minimum. Exhausting to say, and exhausting not to have in there, or actually refreshing that it's not in the recon. First, it's easier to write the recon because this thing is not in there. Second, it's easier to call the vote on the recon because this is not in there. Easier to vote on the recon because this is not in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing is not in there. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, I will be going over what's happening right now on the Senate floor for the bipartisan. When do they start? What hour? What day on your recon? When do they finish your recon? What's Nancy doing? What's Chuck doing? What's Jalopal? What's the president? Then I'll go over all the language and details you need to know. It's a lot happening in the final 15 minutes of the video, and it's live on air, direct from Santa Monica here. But something equally wonderful, the volunteers. If you watch this video and had problems finding rent and utilities, you've tried, you can't find it, and you can't find it yourself, don't worry, I got your back. Reach out to the volunteers. They're viewers just like you. They're on the community page. Where's the community page? Open the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click the link, it'll send you over to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. On there, you'll see them separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them. They'll help you get that big money. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Noontime continues with breaking news. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m.
home. LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now at noontime as the vote is underway on the bipartisan. I'll have the latest details of what's happening in the Senate right at this very moment, live from Santa Monica. And how are you? Thank you for joining me on this big noontime with a lot of breaking news from Congress today. There's a lot happening, and there's going to be a lot happening tomorrow, so stay with me all weekend long, and do that by subscribing. Hit that subscribe button right now. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. The link's under the video. Let's cut to what happened with the president during the campaign trail and what's happening now. When running for the highest office in the land, he promised you the raise of your benefits of SSI and SSDI, did not deliver that. And so what's going on then? During the transition papers, he then said he was going to do it again. He did not. So now the Democratic senators and Democratic House members are taking care of this for you. When? Starting in just a few days. Fifth stimulus starts in September. We're just less than a month away. Fifth stimulus starts writing up in September, and then it goes to a bill vote around November. It will raise your benefits up presumably in November, and then apply that benchmark in December for next year's benefits. Let's go over all the details. Step one, they'll raise your benefit limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add the inflationary benchmark, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. Let's go over who this is for. First, it's for you. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. First step, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. What will that benchmark be? Inflation. When? In December. What will inflation be? It will be transitory. Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve on Capitol Hill, said that the inflation rate is going to be transitory. When? In December. Yes, right when they apply our benchmarks. So what is transitory? It's a fancy word to say a temporary spike. How high? Well, it's heading to about 5% is what I'm saying. Wall Street analysts, a lot believe the same thing as well. We had a lot of economic data this week, and the economic data signaled inflation is hotter than we thought, not cooler. So non-farm payroll came in at 943,000. Unemployment number dropped to 5.4%. The continuing unemployment number was less than 2 million, which is absolutely astronomically low. Very few people unemployed now in this economy. The unemployment rate had been 14.8%. It's now at 5.4. Pre-pandemic was 3.4, 3.5, so we're almost there. Wall Street is expecting massive job numbers, and this number was even higher. So inflation is running hot. Let's go over the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply the benchmark. Let's say it's 5%. Your benefits will step up another 5%. And not just next year, a lifetime, because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Then they'll remove the income cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. The asset cap. Then they'll remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. And you'll be able to do a pair dance. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits. And if you had your benefits canceled, they'll be restored. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. There will also be a fifth stimulus check for next year that won't overlap with fourth. But if you're in the live chat and you're noticing you do not have a purple hawk emoji next to your name, and you realize a lot of other people do, what are you doing? You got to subscribe right now. You got to become a member right now. The link to join as a member is under the video. Here's what's happening with members. They've understood that the big money in all these packages is not a stimulus check, but these payouts of $10,000 to $50,000. When second stimulus was passed, it was a $600 stimulus check, I said, sure, but I'm going to get you $6,000. I didn't. I got viewers $14,000. I said, why focus on a $600 stimulus check? Focus on $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Money right now, not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now. And they got big money, not focusing on a $600 stimulus check, focusing on the big money that's under second stimulus. Then, when third stimulus passed this spring, and it was a $1,400 stimulus check, some people just focused on the $1,400 stimulus check. That's all they did. They weren't my viewers. And then when the $1,400 stimulus check was used up, They said, okay, when's the next stimulus check? Not my viewers. Day one, when third stimulus passed, I said, the third stimulus package has tens of thousands of dollars in there for you to get. Go get it. I will show you how to get it. Daily, I will deliver from the YouTube channel a breakdown of all the big monies that are in third stimulus for you to get. And that's what became Purple Hawks. Because the money is first come, first serve. The Purple Hawks pounce and get these tens of thousands of dollars, like Louie and Nancy and John, and like Nisi and Mark. They get these big sums of money because they understand what I'm saying, that when you look at a stimulus package, get the biggest sum of money. More importantly, the federal government is paying your bills under these stimulus packages if you apply. So we all have bills, we all have rent, we all have utilities, we all have something. The federal government won't fix your car, and the federal government won't buy you a new pair of tennis shoes, but they'll pay these other bills. And so if they pay those other bills, then you will have extra cash sitting around because the federal government picked up $20, $30, $40, $50,000 of bills for you. Consider becoming a Purple Hawk. And when fourth stimulus becomes law, guess what? We won't be dealing with a stimulus package like this from third. It'll be like this from fourth. And with that, let's start the recon starting right now. $3.5 trillion of checks will come into you under the fourth stimulus package. And by reference point, while third stimulus was like this is fourth stimulus. You will have fortunes of checks in this third stimulus package. Bernie Sanders fought a generation to get you these checks. And that's why it's a historic day for the American people, as he said. Checks of all types. And while we don't have the recon yet, we do have some of the provisions of some of these checks. Checks for everyone. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, and checks for more. Here are some of the details. First, free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, election checks, close of the digital divide checks, which is free internet checks, then clean energy checks, and then checks for seniors and workers, worker checks, union checks, independent contractor checks, checks for seniors, checks for lowering the eligibility of age for Medicare, Medicare checks, dental checks, vision checks, and hearing care checks. There you go. Let's cut over to recon for a second. Bipartisan for a second, roads and bridges. So, the breaking news which you're hearing all day long on this channel, live on air and tape this afternoon, is the following. The Senate is back in the Senate floor today, Saturday. And at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Los Angeles time, they started trying to vote on passage in the Senate of the Roads and Bridges bill. The timeline of recording so far was I was on air with you live at 9 a.m. I'm on air now with you live at 12 noon? 12 noon. I already taped afternoons to LA. I have not taped evening to LA yet. And as of right now, as of 12 noon, they have still not passed the Roads and Bridges bill. They may be doing it later today because a lot of the reports are saying later Saturday. They initially said 12 noon Eastern Standard Time Saturday. Now they're saying later Saturday. So maybe they're going to try to do it later Saturday. Here's what you need to know is that the articles universally say that the Roads and Bridges bipartisan will pass the Senate on when it's called for a vote Saturday. So when does the recon, our money, start for a vote? Instantly right after that. Chuck Schumer and the Republicans confirm. Now, we don't know if it's instantly today or instantly Sunday or instantly Monday. What we do know is the following. The Senate is in session, has been in a session for the longest duration for almost a decade, and will not go on break. Chuck Schumer has ordered the senators, they're not allowed to leave town, and they have to continue to work. They've worked 3 weekends in a row, 16-hour days, and he said, you're not leaving yet. So once the Roads and Bridges is finished, potentially as early as today, then they immediately start the recon. When could they start the recon? They could start today. They could start tomorrow. I think it's likely to start on Monday. How many days for voting on the recon? It looks like at the moment it's going to be 2 days. Why do I say 2 days? Because they're starting the recon with the Senate vote-a-rama. The Senate vote-a-rama, I've detailed on this channel, is where people introduce amendments, sometimes trying to crash things and burn them, and sometimes just modify stuff. So you'll see Democrats doing modifications, you'll see Republicans doing modifications. Vote-a-rama is usually 2 days. And so we're likely to be done with the Senate side of the recon by Tuesday or Wednesday. Then it gets sent over to the House, Nancy Pelosi's place, the recon and the bipartisan, and then they work on voting on it and making changes. If they make changes, we could go into about the end of this coming week. Then if there's any changes, it has to go back to the Senate for another vote and then off to the president. All right, next thing I want to go over is the element of who goes first. This is what you need to know. The only place where who goes first is absolutely, positively imperative is the House of Representatives. The Senate, it helps, but it's absolutely imperative in the House of Representatives. It's also helpful that the president has come out in favor of this as well. Let's go over all the analysis. Number one, the president has said emphatically that if you put on his desk in the White House just the roads and bridges, he won't sign it. He says you have to put on my desk in the White House both the roads and bridges and the recon for me to sign. The infrastructure bill, if only it comes to me, and that's the only one that comes to me, I'm not signing it. They have to come to me in tandem, roads and bridges and bipartisan. Then he also says, I'm not just signing the bipartisan, forgetting the rest of what I propose, recon. I propose another piece of legislation, and the other one is equally important. That's the recon. Second, Nancy Pelosi is basically the gatekeeper. Nancy Pelosi is solely responsible in the House to determine when things call for a vote. Everyone in the House can say whatever they want to say, but they have no say as to when things are called for a vote. And Nancy Pelosi will do a Mitch McConnell on this if she so wishes. Mitch McConnell in 2020 constantly never called things for a vote. She is doing the same thing. She's saying, if you only send me the roads and bridges, I'm throwing it in the garbage can, and I'm never calling it for a vote. You must send me the roads and bridges with the recon, both passed by the Senate, to the House. Otherwise, if you just send me roads and bridges, it's going in the wastebasket. I'm never calling for a vote. And here's a personal insertion. I think what Nancy will also do is never even order the House back into session. She won't call them back into session and say, no, I don't have the recon. Why am I calling my House members back into session? You get me the darn recon. So she ironically had a meeting with Bernie Sanders about 2 Thursdays ago, repeated that. But here's what's really fascinating. If you've been watching my reporting over the last year and you've learned a lot about Nancy, you learn that sometimes she talks differently. About a week or two ago, she issued a quote about this. And the quote, even at the time, I said, this is like amped up Nancy. She knew this quote was going to be printed over and over again. So she used very tough language. And guess what? Today, the quote is everywhere. And the quote is basically what I just said. This is Nancy talking. As I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have a recon bill first. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill passed by the United States Senate also. Really tough language because she knew that quote was going to be everywhere, and she's not moving. Jalapal is also in the House, and she says the House Democrats will not vote in favor, will block the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, unless the recon lands in the House as well. We did a poll of our Democratic House members, and the overwhelming majority said they're not going to vote in favor of the bipartisan if there's no recon with it. So that's all now clear. We understand now that Nancy has you protected, the president has you protected. So let's go back to the issue of how things are called for a vote before we get to the substance. So how are things called for a vote? So the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, may pass the Senate today. It's supposed to pass. Whether it's done today or tonight, we're not clear at the moment. It was supposed to pass this morning, but maybe it's tonight. If that's the case, they're immediately starting the recon, which could take upwards of 2 days in the Senate, shortly thereafter. Maybe they start today, maybe they start Sunday. If not, they start Monday and done Tuesday. The senators, there's a thing that's beneficial on your side for this, and it's time. The senators have been in session for the longest duration for almost a decade. They've been working every weekend for 3 weeks in a row, 13, 14-hour days. And they say on the record, both Republicans and Democrats, I have no physical energy left. You have to get this done. I'm running out of energy. So this will not drag on very long. They're exhausted. They're 80-year-old people plus, and they just can't do any more, they say. So Chuck's iron fist is working for this in the Senate. Next, the issue of in session. I covered it just a second ago with Nancy, but let me go over it right now. The House is not in session, but as soon as the recon and the bipartisan pass the Senate, Nancy or Steny Hoyer in the House will call the House back into session, which basically means everyone is ordered on the floor within 24 hours. Most of the House members are already still down the hall. They haven't left town. They're still in the same building. But even if they do leave the building, or even they are on the West Coast, they'll be ordered back in town, and they'll be back in there in 24 hours. All right, now let's cut to the importance of the language of the bill. And this is probably one of the most important messages I want you to really understand. It's the following. The recon bill may likely debut tonight or tomorrow, and if not, Monday. When the recon bill debuts, I want you to understand this. We have an emoji for this. Not law yet. It's not law yet because guess what? Democrats wrote it, and other Democrats say they're modifying it. How can they do this? Why would they do it? Let me explain. The people who have been writing the recon are just a few people. They're in the subcommittees of the House, and the other Democrats have not had their hands at it. There's 50 Democrats in the Senate and over 100 in the House. They say, I haven't had the opportunity to edit it. I haven't had the opportunity to change things. Guess what? When I get it, I'm changing it. So they're going to change things 100%. So if you see that recon tonight and it does not have something in there, or it does something wrong, or it does something correct, or it does something too small or too wrong, or the wrong number, the Democrats in the Senate first will be modifying it during the two-day vote-a-rama. Also, the House, the Republicans will try to as well, but they won't work. And then when it gets to the House, then you have a lot more progressives. Remember, the progressives are really dominating the House, much more than the Senate. And those progressives, they will modify something if the Senate Democrats didn't fix it yet for you. Which brings me back to Representative Bush. Representative Bush embodies what's going to happen with this recon. You're going to see the recon, and maybe it's sort of like the eviction moratorium. It wasn't done right. The president said at the earlier part of this week, I'm not extending the eviction moratorium. I don't care if the court said this, and I'm not going to do anything about it. Progressives said, what are you talking about? Nancy, Jolipal, AOC, Bush said, what are you talking about? You have to do this. And he said, no, I'm not. I'm not doing it. And day after day, they pushed, and we ended the week with the eviction moratorium extended. And we ended with the president reverting his position, saying, okay, we'll just battle in the courts. Maybe we'll win. We also ended this week with the student loan debt repayment moratorium reinstated after Elizabeth Warren and Bernie and Chuck fought with the president over months over this. This is not the forgiveness of the money, but the repayment of the money is now frozen. You don't have to repay it yet. This is another achievement. So the pushing of the purple power is embodied also in congressional leaders. You must push when you see the recon, not time or place to sort of roll over. Representative Bush didn't roll over, and neither should you. Finally, a personal message, which I haven't delivered any time today, and I think this will be the only time I'm going to deliver it. It's important to understand that these $3.5 trillion of checks are for you. And over the last, I think it's 4 months, I think you've seen the sort of duration of certain people who want to tell you you're getting nothing. I don't know where they come from. I certainly have an opinion about, but I'm not going to say it on air. But they started by saying to you, there's no money in the recon, it's all roads and bridges. False. Then they started saying to you, there's no money in the recon, it's only for the government. False. Now, where we're at the finish line, and there's $3.5 trillion of checks in the recon, guess what they're doing now? They're saying, oh, none of those checks go to the American people. Also false. What they've tried to do, this group of people, and I did a test the last 2 days. I did a test, and I wanted to see who are these people saying these things. They're not members, and they're absolutely not subscribers. They're actually people sort of passing through that want to shovel false narratives to you. And they want to tell you that there's nothing in the $3.5 trillion for you. And there's not a lot of people, just a few people here and there. So what I want you to understand is that there's $3.5 trillion of checks in this forced stimulus recon for you. The government will not pay your car loan. The government will not buy you a new pair of tennis shoes. The government will not put a new table in the kitchen for you. but the government will pay rent and utilities and medicine and food and housing and utilities and and internet and dental and eye and vision and all these other things. And when you're looking at a given day and you got all these bills to pay, and the government wants to pay $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a bill, that is a day to be happy. And guess what? That was third stimulus, which was this big, and fourth stimulus is going to be this big. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under this fourth stimulus package. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes. Stay on this video. It'll automatically take you to Afternoons LATE starting at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which I guess is no less than 40 minutes away. Stay here. You don't have to do anything, and it'll automatically take you there when this video is over within 6 seconds. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful noontime, and I'll see you at Afternoons LATE at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.